Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report, but it's a special one basically for you guys because I hit 4,000 subscribers, which means you guys are amazing and awesome. And so I want to try and find something different to do, so I thought, hey, I got this whole Blood and the Badlands book. How about I finally do a siege game? A little while back, I finally got a castle. I want to get into it. But luckily, I had Kieran Dunleavy. He said, well, I'll do a game with you. This is a guy who has, great painted armies and all these things. My castle is kind of plastic and boring. His is actually, looking good. So we're going to have a game. It's going to be 2,000 points. I kind of thought it'd be nice to go big and do 4,000 points. But then again, I've never done a siege game before. And talking to Kieran, he said, whoa, it gets a little bit out of hand. Let's scale it back, do it at 2,000 points, at least for this first one here. And I'll be talking about how I think about the system after. But yeah, let's see what happens. Alright, so the first thing to show here is that when you are the defender of the castle, which will be Kieran, I'll be the attacker, he's the defender, is that you get this relief force. It has to be at least one unit, and they're going to be coming on later. And the cool thing is that if they ever get to the gate, assuming that he still controls the gate, he just wins. So this is definitely a unit I'll have to be watching out for. And otherwise, this is going to be the kind of character breakdown. Unfortunately, it's focusing on the gate and not on the characters, but he's going to be running a couple of wizards here, a Lord of Heavens, a level 2 fire. He has his BSB, his warrior priest, and also an engineer. And I got my war boss with a wizard hat, so should be interesting. Apart from this is his army, and the main reason why we want to take a picture of his army before it gets deployed is that everything that's not in the relief force basically starves, because the normal way of beating a castle during a siege is just to starve them out. So the way it works is on a 5+, these guys die, and yeah, it kind of hurts. Well, on a 5+, they take a wound. So this is everything that died. So a good chunk of everything. Everything, I mean, for the most part, odds are all the way across. Nothing really spiked too crazy, except for those crossbowmen where like half the unit died. But yeah, definitely makes it be a lot easier to deal with. Otherwise, this is kind of what it looks like here from when everything's done and deployed. So just kind of say, too, that after you make your list, you get 2,000 points. You also get 2,000 points of gear that you get to have. So this left tower here that looks all crazy, that's one that actually makes it so it's like a wizard tower. So whoever's in there gets lore master. He's also going to be having some other stuff mixed in there too, but I'm going to have some battering rams and stuff like that. One of the funny things that we had at the very beginning is I thought, well, going in, there's this one awesome one where you basically are, adding one to the starvation roll. So I'll just take 2 of those, and I mean, all of his guys are dying on a 3+. And luckily, Kieran was nice enough to say, whoa, Brian, look at this again. You're kind of not reading it right. The way it works is that it makes the relief force come in later, but then the starvation roll gets basically worse by 1. So if I did it twice, none of his guys would starve at all. So luckily, Kieran was a good guy. Let me change it up. But you get 3 different places you're going to be trying to fight over to try and win. And the first one's going to be this wall section we're seeing here. So in the left there, he has a cannon. He has what's left of his crossbowmen, and he also has his Heavens Wizard. Then in that actual wall section, he has the Fire Wizard, some swordsmen, and I believe that's it, although it looks like something else is there. I'm set up so I have some savages with spears to go after the tower. Then I have a big horde of orcs going with a battering ram after that wall section. Up in the middle tower there, he has a good-sized unit of some halberdiers, and then there he has his BSB and his warrior priest. That tower was something special too, I just can't remember what it is. Next up is the gate. The gate is going to be another spot we're going to be trying to fight for. And in there he has a Hell Blaster with his engineer. He has a bunch of great swords. And that thing too is also this Hellmouth thing. It's basically a thing where he's going to be dumping oil on me. Going after them will be my Savage Orc Biggins. Finally, the next tower here is going to be a cannon at the top. And then what he has left with his handgunners. Going after them will be my Black Orcs and my General. And then finally, this wall section on the far right here is going to be the last thing we fight over. And he just has some swordsmen in there to try and defend that one too. And again, I have another big, block of Orcs with battering ram and shields going after them. So yeah, I mean, one of the things I guess will first kind of pop out here is that looking at this, the castle isn't set up the way it's normally supposed to be. It's supposed to be a square, but it's a little bit different because he doesn't have one of the towers. So whatever, we just kind of changed it up. But for the most part, the way that the win conditions work is that if I only get one or none of these main sections, I just lose. If I get all three, I just win. If I get two of them, we go to victory points. So looking at this, I really think it's going to be very, very easy to get the one here that's on the far side, on the far right. By the way, something that's going to be a little bit here, changing the math for those who don't really know, is that if you're defending a castle wall here, basically the attackers are half initiative and half weapon skill. You can breach it by destroying it with weapons like the cannons and stuff like that, or with these battering rams. These battering rams will be destroying them on a 5+. But there's this whole before phase. You have to find out if things get to be destroyed, where your war machines shoot back and forth. Well, I didn't take any war machines at all. I just took a bunch of dudes. However, I did do a little bit of my points going to things where I'm doing this under digging, and so I've actually destroyed the gate section so that it's basically just a building. My guys fighting them won't be half weapon skill and half initiative. So that's really going to help, but otherwise, yeah, I think it should be pretty interesting, and for the most part, I think I'll probably be killing a lot of his guys. So the first thing to look at here is pretty much, yeah, just the whole fact where I roll a 6 and this gate gets destroyed. And whereas at first it's like, oh, well, it won't be too bad. His guys will be hitting me on 3s and all this cool stuff. Well, all of a sudden, yeah, he's not getting all those bonuses. And those great swords really don't like the idea of dealing with all these Savage Orc Biggins. The thing that's kind of silly, though, is I have a battering ram going towards the gate. So now it's going to basically be doing nothing. Over here, does some shooting with his handgunners, because the very first thing that happens is you set up 8 inches away, and then the defenders get 2 shooting rounds. So from the handgunners, they kill 4 of these Black Orcs. Over here, the handgunners don't do too hot. They just kill 1 of these guys. Then he runs for his Hell Blaster, and the way it works is that you just ignore miscasts. If you get a misfire, rather, you just don't shoot during the first turn. And look at what he got here for his Hell Blasters. Triple misfires. He could have done so much damage, but yeah, that really hurts. And then just going to have some bad dice after. So after that's all said and done, a double shooting Hell Blaster only kills 2 savages. And then over here, this hurt pretty good. This is the grape shot coming from the cannon. And yeah, it killed a lot of guys. Otherwise over here, this grape shot did pretty crappy and just did 1. And now it's attack time. And it's just all around, we're attacking all the sections. And you mean at 8 inches away, you're pretty sure you're going to get there. But hey, between animosity and some bad rolls, you never know what's going to happen. One of the things that the defenders get to do is everybody has rocks. So as a stand and shoot, they can kind of throw these rocks down. But they only hit on a 5+. They're only strength 3, so they won't be doing too much damage. But hey, it's a little bit of extra damage you're taking. Over here, I get some magic off. I should say that the lore that I got was the lore of metal. And so I have one where I get +1 to hit, another one where you're going to be half weapon skill and -1 armor save and stuff. And so basically that's what I did here, is I hexed the great swords just so that they'll get no armor save whatsoever against my Savage Orc Biggins. After everything is done on this side, it really didn't go my way. Now, I gotta say, those Savage Orcs with the spears are completely useless. I'm basically paying a point per guy for nothing. That being said, I am fighting a wizard, some crossbowmen, and some cannon crew. And they beat me up. So I get pushed out there. Meanwhile, my orcs did fairly well against the swordmen, killing like half of them. But you know, they're fine. It's another thing too, where whenever you're figuring out who won, if there's a section on either side that you are controlling, it helps you. So basically, with the tower and the other tower here, these guys are getting +2 to their results. So, you know, even it makes it hard to even beat them. And then when you do, they're going to be steadfast. So, yeah, I mean, I have numbers on my side, but, you know, if I don't kill these guys out, they're probably not going to be leaving. Meanwhile, on this side here, yeah, I have the flaming banner on the Black Orcs, so they really go to town. Bring it down to one handgunner, and he, you know, stays there. Otherwise, I kill a whole bunch of greatswords. I kill all but one greatsword. So, yeah, those savages really doing their work there. Things aren't really looking good for Empire, especially on the far right, where he actually failed his test for what was left of those swordsmen. So I've already taken this right section here. I also breached it with the battering ram too. So yeah, on this side of the castle, things are getting bloody. On his turn here, he kind of mounts the counterattack. These guys should be kind of still fleeing, but whatever. You have to kind of go for these like neat little theme moments. Otherwise, yeah, you know, he's doing some deadly stuff here, and this is where he's like starting to dump oil on me and stuff, so I'm going to be losing a bunch of savages from that. And over here, the shooting that went into my savages with spears, now I already lost a combat, so I don't have Frenzy, and then these guys panic. So, yeah, whereas I thought that, you know, that one tower there isn't one of the main objectives, but at least taking it out takes out his magic. Yeah, so much for that. Silly savages. Otherwise, over here, we repel the swordman. And overall, this is what it looks like after his turn. So, took a little bit of damage. What he did is he swapped what was in the middle tower and the gate. So now he has a whole bunch of halberdiers there, plus his BSB and his warrior priest. So that was a really good move, because now, you know, I have to deal with all those guys too. On my turn, yeah, Animosity will never really do anything this game, because the worst that normally happens is I have to charge. But this silly wizard hat, yeah, I failed my stupidity. I didn't take a BSB, so these guys will not be attacking this handgunner, and I won't be getting any magic. Otherwise, I kind of correct that just by having my orcs in the other wall section charge this last handgunner in the tower. And over here, I rally with my savages with spears, do nothing pretty much to the swordsman, just get pushed right back out. That's one of the things, again, I mean, normally these big blocks of orcs with their shields and stuff, they do okay, because, you know, it's 30 strength 4 attacks. But when you're going into the building here, I mean, I haven't taken it down, so he's, I mean, only weapon skill 2 and stuff, and so it's only 10 attacks, and, yeah, I'm not getting anything done. Over here, yeah, I mean, he's going to be retaking the wall section, but whatever, these guys are dead here. Going into the halberdiers there, you can see that I killed the warrior priest, and I killed a whole bunch of the halberdiers, so looking pretty good. I'm only down to 20 savages now, but that should be enough. On his turn here, these 3 swordsmen go, ha-ha, and scale the ladders and take back this wall section. And over here, he gets this spell off, so these guys will all be getting +1 attack and whatever else comes from that Lore of Heaven spell. Otherwise, this is what it looks like. He does a little bit more damage to me in shooting, losing a couple more savages and all the rest of it, but otherwise, that's pretty much it. He tried setting his pigeon after me this turn, kind of flew off and hit a tree. You know, most of the time he's actually just be running the Hellblaster, but he figured he didn't need it this turn, and then the Hellblaster didn't really roll that well. Well, okay, it has to also be a thing where this game, I rolled a lot of tattoo saves. Like, it was ridiculous, the number of 6s I rolled. But, yeah, looking pretty good going on in my turn now. So on my turn, these guys failed their animosity and had to charge the tower. Not that really big of a deal. I was going to do that anyway, but it's probably going to be a thing where all of a sudden now I only got 5 guys, so these crew guys could probably beat me up. After all that's done, yeah, those savages did like nothing to him. His Lord Mage is down to 1 wound now, so I almost killed him, but I'm just down to 4 guys now. He's down to 3 of these swordsmen. And over here, I killed all the halberdiers, but that BSB is tough. He has like a 2+ save, re-rollable, and so that makes it hard to kind of chew through, especially when only half my guys can attack him. So really, when everything was, I also sent my orcs there after the wall section on my turn, and again, I couldn't kill them all, couldn't kill one, but in this game, there's only 5 turns. So we are at the end of turn 3 here, and I haven't taken any of the sections. You know, I had taken the one wall there that mattered on the far right, but then I kind of gave it up again. And that BSB could be hard to beat. I'm really worried they might shift some more stuff into the other wall section. So at this point here, I'm actually getting a little bit worried. On his turn here, finally his Pistoliers come in, and you know, first of all, there'll be a little bit of an issue here of shooting me up, but remember, if they speed over and get into the gate, he just wins the game. So that's always something I have to keep an eye out for. Over here, yeah, that Hellblaster goes crazy, kills most of my savages, and now I'm just down to 6 guys. So now it's a question of, can I even take the tower, or sorry, the gate? And even if I take the gate, can I hold it? Because, hey, you know, maybe he'll just hit me with a magic missile or something. So this is really looking scary. Otherwise, at the end of his turn, it looks like this. Not too much else really to show. My 2 savages with spears over there are down to 2 models. They passed their break test. But, yeah, I mean, I really got to get in there and start scoring some points. So on my turn, it doesn't really help that I fail stupidity again. You know, it's leadership 9, but this is kind of one of my faults here for not having a BSB. I really just want to have as many orcs as possible. So that's why I was kind of cutting corners. Now I'm paying the price. Actually, last turn, I actually failed a personal stupidity because I could have cast magic, but I just kind of skipped my entire magic phase. So whatever. But, you know, this is 500 points of Black Orcs. It'd be nice to use them. Over here, I try assaulting with my 2 savages. Just really, I know I'm probably going to lose the unit, but if I just do 1 more wound to that mage, I kill his level 4. So that seems really worth it. But he drops rocks on my head when I'm coming in, kills 1 guy, and my champ runs away. So, yeah, so much for that. Otherwise, it looks like this. Man, I still can't kill these stupid swordsmen here. I really thought that, especially after that first turn, that I'd be able to grind them out. But again, it's just not happening. And I'm only going to get like 1 more chance. So this is looking bad. Otherwise, over here, I did kill the the 1 great sword and the BSB. That was actually a lot of luck because I attacked against the BSB. I got 3 wounds on him, and so that brings him down to a 4+ save, re-rollable. So really, I shouldn't have killed him, but luckily for me, Kieran had bad dice. So I take the gate section, but again, I'm really worried about that because he can just magic missile these guys or even shoot in the Hellblaster. You know, he's -2 to hit, but he'll just be ripping these guys up. I do take the far right gate section, so right now I have 2 of them, but like I said, I mean, that gate is being held by 6 wounds, which could easily go down. So on his turn here, he really decimates these guys here. Between his shooting and everything, yeah, these guys are now down to 16 models from the big horde they used to be. They should hopefully be enough still to kill those 2 swordsmen, but the biggest thing here was the Leadership 7 panic test, which luckily I pass. Otherwise, looking over everything, it was really just the action on the far left, but just showing an overall. On my turn here, oh man. So like I said, I am really worried about losing the gate, and I really need to make sure that I take this other one, just so I have like a backup. So I come out here with my mage. Now, Morco, my war boss with the wizard hat, doesn't need to be outside of the unit. There's a 2-foot range on the spells, but if I'm out here, I'm hoping he'll have to spend his shooting or his magic to try and kill me, right? Well, I get off the whole spell where I'm getting a +1 to hit on these orcs, and then he uses the feedback scroll and kills my general. So, yeah, my ploy doesn't really do anything, and I kind of just end up killing my general. Otherwise here, then I charge in, and I can't do it. That silly battering ram still has a knockdown the wall. I'm hitting him on a 3+, wounding him on a 3+. He has a 6+ armor, 6+ save, and I just can't kill them both. So here's this champion. You can kind of bet we have a whole search for the Holy Grail thing going on here, where your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries, and oh, this hurt not being able to take this wall section. Otherwise, on the right side, not too much to do. I mean, I could put like the black orcs inside the tower or something, but at this point, it's pretty much pointless because I can't do anything else. On his turn here, he goes after these guys. Between his magic missiles and all of his shooting, they're just completely wiped out. And that's pretty much it. He actually needed like every last unit to shoot at those orcs to take them out. So I actually have still that one champion from the Savage Spear still alive. So he doesn't get the points for there. And I mean, we talked about after he could have gone after the gate, but he just really wanted to go for the points and the stuff there. So I control 2 of the main objectives. He does 1. We go down to victory points. And basically, from my side, he's destroyed the 1 horde and my general. And otherwise, I've killed a lot of stuff of his. So, victory to the orcs. So, a victory for the orcs. And that was actually a really fun game. It's one of these things where I've never done a siege game before. I've always really liked it. But like I said, I've never had a castle, never had anyone to play against. So, this is going to be a first time. Didn't know how it would go. But it was really down to the wire there. I mean, really, if you would have actually targeted the guys in the gate, I think you could have killed them. Then all of a sudden, if I'm just holding one section, that's it. I also think, too, there could have been a lot of things he could have done to really help himself out in other ways. But that's one of the great things playing against Kieran. Going into a game like this, where everyone knows the building rules, there's ways to abuse them, but playing against Kieran, he's gonna be playing more for the theme and the feel of it, and he's not going to do those super cheesy things. One of the things I was kind of worried about is what if he takes a steam tank, because you can't start with anything outside the castle, but that steam tank can start there. You can actually charge out your own gate, so it's like, well, okay, he'll just go and lock down 1 unit, and that's kind of bad. There's a lot of little silly things you can do, like, if I was defending the castle, well, I'll just take 100 night goblins and throw them in there, and what are you going to do type thing, right? You just can't, over 5 turns, realistically kill all 100 night goblins. But that's the real thing. You just really need to go into this and have 2 people that are playing in a way where, okay, we're not going to be jerks. We'll, kind of go and make it more fair. But at the same time, I was kind of wondering if my army was kind of the jerk one. Going into it, I didn't want to really super cheese it out or anything like that, but I wanted to make it orky. So that was a big thing where I took the war boss with the wizarding hat, and there's tons of orc units. But at the same time, those savage orc biggins and those black orcs with the flaming banner, they just ripped things up in those buildings. So, I mean, after that first turn, he was really hurting. One upgrade that, could have done a lot more, because, having things like the wizarding, like having the lore master and stuff like that, that was kind of cool. But that one upgrade there to have like the boiling oil, I would just be having that all over the place, because that seems like it's pretty damn awesome. Because first of all, it's a breath weapon inside combat when you charge, and you can also dump it during your turn, and it's just like pick a spot within 3 inches, and it just does like a small template. So I think it's a 1-use only for both those effects, but still, it's a good amount of damage that you're adding in there and helping to even things out, because that starvation thing where you're losing 1/3 of the guys, it really hurts. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. Actually, over the next week, I've already arranged 2 more games, so I'm hoping this will be the first game for them too. So I'm hoping this video will work as kind of an instruction for them. But yeah, for those who have never played a Siege game, I would say it's worth getting the Blood and the Badlands to do it. The GW Castle is actually amazingly cheap. I think it's like $100 for 4 towers and 4 walls. It's for GW, it's a hell of a good deal, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So either way, again, big thank you to all you guys for going to 4,000 subscribers. I can't believe how fast it got here, and then as well, a big thank you to Kieran Devlin. To Kieran Dunleavy. Down below, I'm going to be having a link to his channel. He doesn't always update stuff there, but everything he puts up there is brilliant. So you should definitely be subscribed onto there just to know when things come out. He's even thinking about doing battle reports soon, so that should be a lot of fun. But either way, there you have it. We'll catch you later.